Welcome one, welcome all. I am Fawn, just saw me commentating, but now I'm here on the desk, and not only am I not alone, but surprisingly enough, I made it here to the desk. Nick?
It was a long journey, I'm sure,
Yes,
brother.
oh yeah, I'm sure, yeah. I had to walk miles to make sure I got here.
Yeah,
But
your first day of the console league, though, man.
yeah,
How was Europe?
it was really interesting to watch. It was just fun overall. Like I think it's just
Right.
super cool to just watch all of this.
Just to get the best part about console is just that it does have such a polar opposite meta at times. And like you, for instance, you were like Talus, like when you got in here and you
Yeah.
started seeing the draft. I'm like, yeah, it's just kind of part of it, right? So it's
Yeah.
fun to, because of the different metas, you get to see some new champions you might not otherwise get a whole lot of screen time on.
Yeah, regardless of that, I mean, it was really, really good. But the thing is that now we have to pretty much look at, I believe, the two players it is that we're going, not two players, two teams
North
we're going to be
America,
playing in
yeah.
North America, yeah, that we're going to be playing right now.
Yeah, Europe is done, guys. We're headed over to North America just so you can see. These are the standings. Obviously, no one's played any games right now, but these are the four teams you'll see representing North American PS4 for this phase. Hydra Gaming, a new roster, a new organization you might not recognize. Nemesis, brand new, kind of towards the back half of Phase 1. Onslaught, you know them, you love them. Stremex as well. That's a completely new kind of face for you to expect this time around.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really, really interested to see what these teams are going to bring out. Like, we've seen such a drastic meta shift just differently from, like, we moved from the PPL to the console league and then, of course, to the minor league and all these different characters that are being played, so many different metas, so many different really just the different characters is what's getting me. Like it's
Yeah.
like it's so
It's the
vastly,
biggest jump,
yeah,
for
it is.
sure.
It's the biggest jump because we're seeing more victors. We're seeing more like we see Vivian
Hella
Tyra like
hit
in
scan.
PPL. but so much more hit scan than what it is that I'm normally used to seeing.
Right.
But it's still good regardless. I believe we're going to get to the maps right now, or at least the map picks. Or
Yeah, we'll be getting to the maps pretty soon. Here
Yeah.
comes the bands in now. Timbermill, that'll be taking a seat. Nemesis getting rid of that one. Stone Keep gone via Onslaught. Onslaught's second band. Frozen Guard, Shattered Desert as well. So many, and part of the console league is that, there is actually more teams in the console league than there are, in the minor league and even the Premier League. So it's a lot of different players. You're going to expect to see a lot of new faces kind of phase to phase. The way that the people qualify out is different. That's part of the reason I think why you see so much turnover, because you have to be the best in your console region combination or you're not going to make it to LAN.
Right.
And you're going to want to make adjustments if you're not making it to LAN.
Right, yeah. And that's like so important, especially like these PCL teams are going to fight like super
Definitely.
hard to make sure they can win their proper standings and do the best it is that they can.
Right.
But for right now, though, I believe we're going to be coming to maps right now. Yeah, the map picks as well. The first, oh yeah, Jaguar Falls is the first one up.
Yep, these are best of 5 sets as well. As you can see, that's all we've got slated. Saw a lot of action on Thursday and Friday in the Premier League. Those are best of 7. So these best of 5s may not seem like the biggest difference, but you'd be surprised how quickly these can go, especially because it's still set up the same way where high seed gets the first pick, low seed gets the second pick. From there on out, it's loser's pick. But if you've lost the first 2, by the time you get to loser's pick, that's kind
Right.
of it. Your back is against the wall. You got to win or go home in these best of 5. So they can happen very, very quickly unless you put your foot down.
Right, yeah. First, we're going to be looking at the con ban here from Onslaught, followed by Torval. It's pretty standard. It's pretty much what you'd expect to see anyway, especially on a map like Jaguar Falls.
Con definitely solid both on on PC and on
Yeah,
console.
right.
Has that feature. The big caveat for consoles, they love their hit scan tracking base characters. So not even necessarily all hit scan. Like an Andro is kind of where he is on PC, right?
Right.
Not super viable, but the flicking, not as popular. These guys track like monsters. Some of these guys are world-class trackers, so anything like those. Talus specifically, he's the big one that you're not necessarily going to see on PC as much. Your Con's still in that category, so he's still going to be super viable here.
They decided to take the Atlas first, if anything, and then they want to lock Genos Victor in response. We've been seeing a lot of that combo happen today, not only just like right now in the draft, but like in EU as well. The Genos Victor, the Luminary buff being so strong, especially in like this, where I would imagine with hit scan would be like that would be really dangerous.
The thing about Victor and even Tyra and Vivian is that those characters have always pumped. I mean, those are all big damage characters, and if anything, PC has console to really look to for kind of coining those, because there's nowhere else that you're really seeing that as much or as fluently. You get a lot of data on those characters from watching the console league. So like we mentioned, those characters already pump. You throw a little bit of damage amp their way, and then they just get very, very scary. And a lot of them, especially Tyra, Vivian, and Victor, they don't have escapes, so their only way out of bad situations is through. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like, you got to add to the problem. They need to be able to damage their way out of anything. They're not going to escape otherwise.
Right, yeah. I see that they decided to go for the Barrack. They're hovering Ashe, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be picked. That's something you see a lot on PC as well, is the Barrack Ashe combination as well. You see it from so many PPL teams because it's so potent once it's actually in there. Like, they have so much staying power just with Barrack Ashe in general. On the response, though, I'm seeing a lot of Terminus today. I wonder if they're actually going to opt to go for Terminus. Are they going to run a triple tank that we just saw last match?
It looks like it because, I mean, Grover is a great healer to heal those triple tanks because he himself is a big boy, right? He's getting that passive healing the entire time, and it lends itself very well. The tank's not quite as long range as some of the other champions, though. They can stick together more effectively, and when everyone's sticking together, that's when Grover is most effective. Vivian, you can even throw her in there as well. She's just going to kind of move around, not too fast, not too slow. This could be really something scary. I'm very surprised to see as much Terminus as we have today, for sure.
Yeah, I
guess it's a mainstay.
Right, yeah,
I mean,
I guess it has to be.
A couple of different sets at this point. It's something that's here to stay. Everyone's picking it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it has to be. They decided to lock in Willow last, though. It's going to be really good because I can imagine you'll be able to control a lot of points with this Willow, especially into Makoa, Alex. It'll be hard getting through a shield, but with Fayfly, her movement, I feel like that would be really, really strong.
Yeah, got to stay above him. Dead Zone is incredibly effective against Grover.
Yeah. Which draft do you like more?
I want to see Onslaught win this one.
Onslaught win this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, you heard it first here from Nick. Onslaught will be the one he wants to go to, but let's throw it down to casters to find out what's happening.
Appreciate it, Stefan. Thank you, Nick. The most contested region of last split in the PCL, the 1-2 matchup. Coming to us on day number 1 here. Nemesis, of course, making their way to the MSI. Onslaught, they traded games back and forth. I believe both teams were 10-2. And both of the 2 losses for both teams were to one another throughout the split. So it's going to be a contested matchup, a fun one to watch for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I'm also, the drafts though, I do think it's a little sided to Onslaught just because of purely like the triple tank win rate on console, I think is absurdly high. Nemesis have the tools to, they have the counterplay, they have the Willow to deal with the Grover heals, they have Victor to run away, maybe do some damage on the way out, but I don't know if they'll just be able to get through all the meat that triple tank has.
That's true. I mean, would you say that this is a lineup where a Terminus actually does make some good sense?
Yeah, Terminus and triple tank is solid. You just negate a lot of damage. If he hits that dead zone early too, if it blows up on the siphon, it's further away, so his team gets a little bit more space, and triple tank already showing its worth as the first pick goes on to Flame.
Yeah, Flame effects, notably jumping over to the Nemesis lineup now. Onslaught, much the same roster, 4 new names for a lot of those. Swarm she was, or used to be Swarm So, I guess, but Onslaught, like you said, first couple of kills, 2 for the Makoa, 1 for the Vivian, 0 for Nemesis as they're pushed all the way back into their base, 48%. Already for Onslaught here.
Yeah, great forward zone. If they can keep them dismounted, looks like they got them all dismounted, but they have to watch for the Ashe touch. She still does have a chance to get in. They might be a little bit too far back to stop it now, though, as they back up in main as well, but looks like Flame's dealing with the stasis field and pressure on the right, leaving his main tank to touch point. Barrack does manage to touch, but I'm not sure if they can follow up with him in time as he goes down.
Yeah, Whoosh is the first to go down on this retake attempt. I think they're going to back off. Maybe a shoulder bash to get in there one last time, but touch is not going to come through. All the kills for Onslaught. Just maybe one last final kill towards the end. Spray on the body, even Flame Effects goes down, and Onslaught, I believe, deathless through the first 2 minutes of the game here. 100-0 on the point, and they're pushing now for point number 2.
Yeah, starting up on the left side there, the Jag side, or face side, excuse me, that's the comp of it. Setting up on face, trying to get some pressure. Barrack actually getting caught out, wasn't able to dash out. He has to use his failsafe. Doesn't get found out though. Looks like Whoosh put out a little bit more pressure, but James Parker going down in mid. That's not looking great for Nemesis. Barrage trying to slow it down, but it wasn't able to find anything. 2 picks and Nemesis in Onslaught's favor.
I mean, it may be triple front line, but they are rolling through. The damage cannot be ignored, especially Ralkion is on this Vivian. First round of Sentinels up as well as this payload maybe rounds its final corner for the game. Minute and a half left. They might not even need it all if they're able to add some extra kills here towards the back end. The divide as well from Atlas goes up. Look at that, just shreds Barrack to about half health. That's 3, 4, 5 bullets, maybe just a couple seconds of firing. Barrack already has to back off. His payload cannot move any further forward before it goes in. That's a good setback onto Whoosh. The hook as well pulls him in. Swarmshe grabs the kill there. SJP, Flame Effects, each adding one back here for Nemesis. They need to find a way to get SJP out of the air here, but they answer back in such a good way. But this Makoa is still alive, and the payload is still so close to going in. Maybe that pulls him out of contest range.
What a hook.
Beautiful hook by Swarmshi, and that gets Onslaught point number 2.
Yeah, that was actually looking really bad at first for Nemesis. I mean, it ended up going really bad for Nemesis, but they had to have the Willow Fae flight in to contest the point.
Yep.
That's really, when you're doing that on Willow, like, yes, you have more maneuverability in the Fae flight now, but you're going to take a lot of damage really quickly. That's not what you want to be doing. They managed to hold it off, but fantastic use of the counter, the crowd control from Onslaught, stacked up a little bit, set back into a hook, guarantees that push for them. And they're going to look really solid on this, coming into this mid-fight with all that tank pressure, no items really online for Nemesis yet to deal with all the healing and all the shielding.
And all that's going to be immediately available is the Assert Dominance. You'll have Dome Shield after a little bit of this engagement. A couple Rejuvenates, notably for the frontliners here. Sorry?
A Deft Hands.
Oh yeah, Deft Hands for Ralkion. I mean, you're somehow firing through that 70-round clip. Want to get it up and available as much as possible here. Onslaught, couple ultimates, notably Ancient Rage and the Exiles. Sir James Parker, the first to drop here. Losing your main damage threat is not the way you want that to go. Victor, though, still alive. That's second damage threat as well. Was forced out around the backside here.
Yeah, SJP got forced into a bad way. Onslaught had really good control on both sides. SJP got forced into the dark room. He had no one there to peel for him. He ended up in the middle of all those tanks, and that is not where you want to be as Willow, the small little fairy. The DR can only protect you so much. Dome Shield forced in the mid by the Terminus, putting on a decent amount of pressure. Ancient Rage actually forced on the side here too, trying to find some kills. Not going to block the dash, but he had to dash away, so now no one's able to help the Barrack on point.
Yeah, 96%, 99. That's going to become 100 if they're not able to get in and get a touch. Whoosh is just going to maybe get melted before he stays alive, actually. Bowling Ball keeps him alive. The Genos healing as well on top of it. 99% for Onslaught here. The Makoa adds another kill onto Willow. Tough game up to this point for SJP. The stun as well onto Flame Effects. Finally, some kills coming up in favor of Nemesis. The Reanimate, though, gets blocked out largely by the shield in this case. Overtime ticking away. They have to get in. Jeff the Raccoon adds a kill, but through time and space. Getting in, getting a touch is Whoosh, but he might be the last line of defense.
Nemesis is finding a lot of damage, but they're not finding a single confirm. I mean, they're trying to kill 3 tanks being pocketed by a Grover. They're not shooting the same thing. Even the Stasis Field was blocking a ton of that. She's still kind of taunting on the cart, spraying, swinging on that spray, reminding them that at least establishing some dominance for himself here. Swarmshi on a spot to go for a hook here that I did not know about. Oh, it looks like he's just stuck in the wall a little bit here, going for a hook. Does not manage to find it.
I thought he was somehow going to make his way up there.
It's a spectator thing. I thought he was actually stuck. I'm like, wow, I did not know as much about Jaguar Falls as I thought I did.
That's
but
right.
Just trying to find some hooks on the side. They have enough time to wait. They have plenty of time for the cart to go. Just killing time looking for a pick.
A contested matchup at 3-0 here. Remember, Nemesis were your MSI team coming out of this region, splitting games with Onslaught throughout it. Flame Effects coming into this Nemesis lineup, making his presence felt here on the right side on this defensive stand for that side. You have the Barrage as well. Notably, the Ancient Rage, I think, got a little bit of extra value even for Onslaught. Kept them alive, but also forced out the Barrage. They were trying to execute the Makoa, but just did not work out that time around. Then they just had to kind of throw bodies towards the point at the end. Nice hook. Ghost is going to be the one to grab that kill as well. Richie down for the next 10 seconds. That's going to make up for a lot of ground here for Onslaught.
Yeah, SJP was almost, wow, I'm surprised he managed to get out. I think he got a mark at the very last second, but still Ralkion pushing around the side, gets that kill there too. Barrack stuck out. Flame getting hook out of his Assert Dominance too, set back into it, but he's going to die. Both tanks on him, and the cart's still moving this entire time. Can Nemesis contest this at all?
I don't know. I guess they are right now for 58 seconds. Richie pulls one back, but Ghost is still alive. On to Flame Effects goes that damage. Ralkion trying with this right side flank here. The Vivian could be all they need. Might wedge this one in. And Onslaught, a 4-0 victory to start off this matchup. They win game number 1, now just 2 games away from taking the set. That's about as convincing of a game 1 with such a contested storyline between these two. You're feeling good right now if you're Onslaught.
Oh yeah, what a good draft by them too. I mean, they got pretty much, I'm assuming, everything they wanted. I really want to know what Triple Tank's win rate is in the PCL.
It's got to be kind of nutty.
It has to be obnoxiously high.
I think so. You would assume so.
I think it won almost every game that I was on the desk for in the PWC. The console wars. So I can't imagine how high it is. When you get a draft like that, deny those counters, have great pinches, great pressure. So good by Onslaught.
Elevate is next. I'm I'm praying. I mean, this is a bit of an MSI, MSI throwback, but the 5 stack on the point on Serpent Beach, I've been craving it ever since it came out. At first, it worked there.
Just the void in your heart was never able to be filled since that game.
Never filled. 73k damage for Richie on the Victor. Good for top in the game. But then, honestly, just more consistent stacked up damage on the side of Onslaught. I guess that's what you expect maybe with triple frontline. Your damage numbers aren't going to be wildly inflated, but your death numbers, notably, are going to be a little bit lower.
Good on Jeff actually not dying.
Yeah, 206.
Pressure, yeah. I mean, Genos, he can play far enough away to get that healing out, get the little bit of damage boost, but really solid positioning by him. Keep himself alive. Wasn't able to find too many through time and spaces, but that you don't really need to, I think, at triple tank. They're all going to live when you hit them anyway.
I mean, I gave Terminus a bit of a hard time up to this point this morning, but at 5-1-6, I believe Ian Nishi, great game. Honestly, great game on the Terminus. Fits well into this composition. I know there's a little discussion on Twitter right now about why he's so picked up in the console league. You know, aim assist notwithstanding sometimes, but a good game from the Terminus this time around.
Yeah, I think so. He really fills his role in triple tank a lot more than some other drafts. Also, since they didn't pick up Khan having the ability to bring that crush, to bring that extra CC on top of things too, we saw how good the Vortex script was in that triple tank lineup. So bringing that kind of supplemental CC, turn things around a lot, plus, of course, denying Willow damage in dead zone. That's what's going to tear your triple tank apart, and Terminus just says no.
Terminus says no, absolutely not, and that's what Onslaught says. 4-0 victory to start off the day. Jaguar Falls, great map for them. Nemesis making some changes. Flame Effects coming in here. Good start to him being on this Nemesis roster. Fun game number 1 for this contested matchup. We'll send it to a quick break. When we come back, game 2.
iNap, powering the control room for the Paladins Console League.
Welcome back after a very, very spicy game 1. It's your host, Phonics.
Hooked on Phonics.
Hooked on Phonics. There we go. That's a way to do it. All right, Nick, so tell me what you thought a little bit about last game.
I mean, kind of what we saw from the console league at the MSI is that very, very triple tank or very almost death ball-y centric composition. And while you do see on paper something there to counter it, a la the Willow dead zone, it's like so many times in Paladins that, you know, you have those paper matchups where you should have something to deal with X or Y or whatever it is, but it just doesn't line up all the time. It's a long cooldown. Dead zone is not enough on its own. As well as Jaguar Falls, it's not like your Stone Keep or your Split Stone where there's like a cool spot for Willow to just park and be super safe and just shoot down on people. It's kind of tough to really like have that counter up all the time or have, you know, SJP constantly just rolling through people as Willow.
Yeah.
Those comps start to fall off towards the late game, but Stefan, the idea is that you never make it to the late game.
Right,
You're done in 6, 7, 8 minutes.
Right, exactly, yeah. Jaguar Falls is definitely one of those maps. However, Jaguar Falls was only the first map it is we play on. Let's see what the second map is that we're going to be deciding to play on. It's Frog Isle, actually. Another map that is like, we're not getting the late game.
Yeah.
Another map that is like, once you have the momentum, it is so hard to fight back.
Yeah, it can be pretty polarizing. It's almost like, think about how we comment a lot on Fish Market, how you capture the point and then like you pretty much fall back to the crest of that D-Day hill and you make your final stand there.
Right.
Fish Market can be a little bit of the same, right? You can't see people get aggressive, but for the most part, once somebody captures the point, a lot of teams fall almost back to their spawn and try to defend that sort of final corner. It's just a smaller map. It's just kind of geographically how it's laid out and how it works.
Yeah, we see that the first two bans, though, Nemesis getting rid of that Terminus, deciding to get rid of Atlas, Torvald, Talus in response to that. So, I mean, it makes sense. You do see the Torvald ban once again, very popular.
Yeah.
Same thing for Atlas, very popular in PC as well. PC and console have about the same.
Genos ticking all the boxes, so wouldn't be too surprised to see him if he was a first pick this time around. I think on Frog Isle in general, you can't really expect to see much triple tanky. That Death Volley comp that we just kind of saw, I wouldn't really put a lot of chips on that happening again. Right. It's too open, right? It's too abusable. Jaguar Falls has so many little nooks and crannies to kind of hide in. That's where you're more likely to see a composition like that. Frog Isle should stay more open in general. Maybe some snipers even. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I mean, you see that quite often in Frog Isle as well. Like you see like the Strix or the Kinessa pick mainly on this map, or maps that have wider areas, so that way they can at least hit and take advantage of their positioning from a certain spot with adequate cover. However, they do lock the Genos Victor once again. Very seems to be a common thread here, especially in PCL, just in general. The Barrack is being hovered. He does end up getting picked, but they do manage to lock Tyra Ash in response on Onslaught.
I don't know if we'll see snipers given. Victor's almost filling that sort of niche role anyway. He's not turbo long range, but he's like the mid to longer range, especially with the burst mode talent that's likely to be picked up. Grover is somewhat interesting, I think, on Frog Isle, because if you're standing up on the high ground safe, you don't necessarily have a range to be able to actually heal a frontliner down on the objective, whereas Genos much safer on Frog Isle. He can be up kind of in the windowsill where a sniper or a Victor would kind of sit, heal people through walls. It's all gravy. His ultimate's great from that range as well, because it's kind of surprising to just see spawn from behind a wall. I don't know. Grover, you have to be a little bit more committed. You have to be a little bit more careful about your positioning and much more aware of where the enemy players are. And when they start to get map control, you got to hightail it.
Yeah, you definitely have to make sure that you run away. That's exactly what his Vine Grip's for, too, for him to be able to escape those situations. So I do actually respect the Grover pick a lot. I do like it on this map as well, since you're in such close quarters. They do go for Makoa Leon, though. Once again, Makoa is open, so they do decide to opt that for themselves. They take that. They're running the Barrack Makoa with the Leon Victor. Genos with Luminary. That's going to mean a lot. Genos being able to just tack that on the Barrack, Victor, Makoa, just anyone. That's going to mean a lot in this.
This is going to be interesting. These are both good comps. I think they're just very different gears, right? You look at this Onslaught comp. It's not that Death Ball 3 tank comp, but it's like as close as it probably could be to that without actually being that. For Frog Isle, you're looking at both Vivian and Tyra. They don't have the range of Victor and Leon. They're going to be mid to close range, looking to brawl up behind Ash and keep pressure on what is a relatively immobile backline for Nemesis.
Yeah, similar comps, but different gears, just as was that Nick put it. Thank you guys for watching this draft, but the game hasn't even really started yet. I'm going to send it down to the casters to find out what they think about this game.
Well, Nemesis now need to answer back on Frog Isle. If you're a console drafter, you're happy with this one because no Tyra ban, no Vivian ban, no Victor ban. All three of them at play in this game. Only one of them has the Luminary boost behind them. But then you get Tyra and Vivian on the opposite side. What wins the day for you, Kresnik? The hunting party or the Luminary Victor?
Depends on how close the Sorrowful characters can get for Onslaught, I think.
Sure.
Because, like Nick said, they're close range, close to mid-range brawl kind of characters. They have to get into their effective range. They can still poke kind of respectively. They can do decent damage at range, but they can't do the same that Victor can do from that comfortable window. He just wants to sit in that window. He wants to spam. He can even throw nades if you're trying to hide around the window. They have to get in without getting completely overwhelmed. Cripple, actually. Treacherous Ground coming in for the Inara. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
Hard counter the Barrack.
Is that why you picked Treacherous Ground in this case?
Not anymore, because it gets countered by Resil, but I guess they want to end this game quick. That's what it is to me. They want to end this before Resilience comes online.
Well, if there's a team that can do it, you get a 4-0 in the last game. That was pretty quick. Already up to 42% in this case. And look at Ralkion, so aggressive. Richie and OS Ghost trading kills back and forth right now. Good shots from SJP are going to drop off the Vivian as well. It's a 3 versus 4 in favor of Nemesis at the moment. Missing your Makoa, but I think smartly Onslaught back off. They realize they have a 60-odd% lead on the point. Let's back off, regroup, and go at it again in a moment.
Yeah, Onslaught was playing their comp well. They were holding their Vivian very close to cover. That's kind of how they have to put her. Get the marks with the Tyra a little bit further back, but if you're going to get picked off by a Genos spam, I'm not sure if that's going to be a great position. Barrage coming in too to try to equalize Swarm. I don't think has his... He didn't want to use his dash to live through that. Flame almost got moved off. Oh my, saved by the bell.
I was praying that it was going to happen. I think for the Makoa, he's happy that it did not. The rest of the kills from Nemesis start to rip through. They regain the point, regain control of this game. And at 90%, they're going to take point number 1. Good fight back from them. The trades were just good enough sort of right off the bat there. Those intermittent trades. Force back Onslaught. They retake. Then the aggression on the back end get them point number 1.
This is going to be a much better position for Nemesis with their long-range poke. They have Leon and Victor, way better at distance than Tyra Vivian. This area, if they don't let them get close, they're going to have a massive advantage, but it looks like the Mark forces SJP back. He's going to have to give up that ground. Inar getting hooked in, but Flame is very split from the rest of his team. Manages to kite to the very edge, but Inar's going to chase that. Ionishi finds the kill. Things are looking good for Onslaught.
They do have the enlightenment that you maybe need to pull things back with. Richie JVC drops off Ionishi. No more Inara, no more Leon now as Ralkion adds another kill in this fight. Forced back is the Victor running away. Burst mode, notably. Not the
Cardio.
Yeah, Cardio. I don't know why the name escaped me there. It's one of the most annoying Victors to play against. What?
Have you been skipping cardio at the gym, Dave? Is that one?
Yes, absolutely. Oh. I skip cardio every single day. Not a good way to go about it. I just hate running. Victor in this case does not.
He loves running.
He loves running. He one of his abilities is running. So you know he never skips cardio. And adds another kill onto this one. Onslaught down to a 4v5 on this defensive stand. About a minute and 15 left as this payload inches ever closer.
Yeah, good positioning here from Richie, kind of holding the side. Both tanks pushing the right. Flame finds a hook, but I don't know if, again, they're not ready. Ash has the shield up in time, hooking a tank. Your team can't burn them fast enough unless you're all looking. They weren't, had to watch some different angles. Ionishi dying though, getting a little bit over aggressive. Whirlwind coming a little late to save him. SJP manages to find that kill. Ancient Rage too after the Whirlwind.
Yeah, wow.
Maybe they can find something. Whoosh getting dangerously low, but the Dome Shield manages to get him out.
Wow, they weather all of the aggression that Onslaught was bringing, wrapped around the backside. Ghost drops as well. This payload inching ever closer to going in. They may have one more chance to get back onto it. It's going to be Ionishi on the Inara, who really needs to get forward and maybe get a contest in there. Inching in, gets the wall up just to defend himself just for a moment. SJP, though, he's been such a force to be reckoned with down the line here. 11 streak and 12 streak burning away. The assert dominance as well. Does find the stun. SJP might just go down, but the body blocks could be good enough. Dancing on the wall, drops off the side. The blast back as well is going to get rid of the Makoa. A double kill for the Tyra, but so much of that brought around by the Ash.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought he was actually dashing off the side when he started that taunt.
Yeah,
because it went third person while he was right on the edge. I was about to say, I know, like he's BMing a bit, but come on, that's a bit much. Really good double CC ultimates used from Onslaught to turn that fight. Now they are completely flipping the tide, just forward zoning, making sure they can't touch. If anybody dies here at this point, it's just bonus credits. That one's kind of an inevitability at that point. See SJP on this mid, how he used his range to get these kills. A little bit too forward by Swarm Sheet, kind of flips things, and that's how they got this little snowball roll.
SJP, I mean, so much of an emphasis put on the Victors, the Tyras, the Vivians, of course, some of the mainstays in the console league drafts. Leon as well, though. She is, you know, another champion that's commonly picked up, or should be at least, and SJP, one of the premier players in this league, absolutely making good of the range, making good of the damage. Wouldn't you believe it, doubling up everyone in this game is Richie JBC on the Victor at 4-1-8. Again, you have to give a nod to any support that goes undying. 2-0-10 for Jeff, putting out some good damage numbers on top of it as well. Not real, I mean, bottom of the barrel there, but still adding a couple kills when they are important, and has made good on the Genos this time around.
Crossfire coming into the mid, actually catches Whoosh, doesn't have his dashes up, probably got caught a little bit by the cripple. Onslaught, good control this mid. Looks like Victor trying to peek in the main, but has to get forced out. A little bit of need to get some poke, maybe wants his reset. Doesn't look like he's actually running Grenadier, so no resets there. But they might be able to find this kill. Both DPSs were ready, but just too much HP on the Ash to get that kill that quickly.
They might need the barrage to try to retake here. The Whirlwind's going to top off Onslaught. About half health goes to Grover, but already 84%. For Onslaught. The barrage is going to come through here, grabs a little bit of damage onto Ralkion, but he's able to dance out of the line of sight. Very much uncontested for Onslaught as they grab point number 2 here. Mid-fight number 1 goes their way. The last one, of course, for Nemesis. Point number 1 for Onslaught was defense, and then point number 2, honestly kind of a tame mid-fight there, but just enough pressure to force Nemesis back.
I actually really like, I think I can think about rewatching this game just to show difference in styles for teams. Nemesis have this pokey, kind of slow, find the pick style. Onslaught just wants to play like it's Onslaught. Like, you know, they want to walk in, they want to brawl, they want to hold close, hold those corners to force the enemy team into them. I really like this mix-up of styles here. Double kill for Ghost in main. Finding those kills with the Inara stacking on the point, but it's not going to be much. Too many picks on the side from Richie kind of turn that fight against them.
Yeah, it was a Tyra versus Victor battle almost there towards the end. A couple intermittent trades for both sides. Still undying is Jeff the Raccoon. Getting some Bulldozer online as well for that Inara wall, just to get it out of the way a little bit more.
She's also still running Cripple, so it's to destroy that as
well.
right,
of course. The ran the treacherous ground talent on top of it, so a little bit of extra value for the Bulldozer this time around as Nemesis backed themselves off on the defensive end. The barrage is back and ready. Ralkion with the first kill onto SJP. You talk about that long-range poke. That's immediately clipped with the Leon going down.
Gets flipped the other way too. Ralkion dying to Richie, maybe thinking that some angles are free that weren't. Ash gets lifted out of the hook, actually. They won't be able to find the pick because of that. Flame has to use his Ancient Rage, but they're just kiting back and forth through the shield. He can't find all the swings. Does manage to find him when Swarmshy tries to push in, but they're losing the main fight. He has to drop to fight the cards too, and missing a hook isn't going to help that very much at all.
And the barrage did end up coming out here from the Victor, but did not find any kills. Finally, Richie's able to get OS Ghost, who was staying healthy and annoying there on the back line. If you are Nemesis here, good fight back from Nemesis is going to stall out this one. 40 seconds left now. Still another try or two for Onslaught to make this a 3-1 game. The Sentinels are ready. Good hook. Pulls the Ash in. No assert dominance. Oh, nearly boops him off the side. Not enough range there. Flame Effects playing very, very close. Tiptoeing the edge of the map there, but keeps himself alive.
Yeah, Flame FX, transplant from PC. I mean, subbed for G2 in the PPL, played for several teams in the PML, now here in the PCL playing for Nemesis, and showing that he knows how to use a controller.
That's true.
I don't know his previous experience on console in general, at least maybe outside of Paladins, but he's showing that he knows how to do it. I mean, hooking like that is not easy on a controller like this.
And we'll see another swap in our later games, notably Slopodopolis going to a minor league team, so that's a missing player here in the PCL. Some not only roster swaps, but entire region and league swaps coming out today. Though this final fight is a 1-for-1 trade. SJP and the Grover trading back, and that's all they need. They get rid of both of the front lines. The Barrack and the Makoa are gone. Nobody else from Nemesis can contest.
Wow.
And it's 3-1 Onslaught. I'm a little salty if I'm Richie right now. I got 122k damage at 11-1 and 13.
This is the screenshot you post on Twitter, and you're just like, oh, my teammates, right? You see that from like the random pro players, like matchmaking. But no, really, I like.
I mean,
how
SJP 8-5 and 11 as well. The damage dealers aren't doing bad.
No, not at all. He's not doing bad at all. It's just that I think the comp from Onslaught is just proven to be better here. I love how they're focusing the tanks. Cripple really destroys Barrack. I mean, his sustain is all on his bowling ball, all on his reset. Being in the treacherous ground, being hit with the crippling throw by Grover, that just gets rid of all of the sustain. It's basically just gone when it's like that.
Right. Some Wrecker as well. You get Wrecker 3, Wrecker 2 on the Vivian and Tyra notably here. Barrage from Richie. Finds maybe a little bit of poke damage on the back side. Ghost has to get around back behind that pillar, though. The healing, the Whirlwind is coming through now from the Grover as the rest of Nemesis have to back off. The first kill, Ionishi onto Whoosh. A lot of that frontline presence now clipped for Nemesis. Forced all the way back as Onslaught are looking to end this game with one final mid-fight.
Yeah, they're showing how important tanks are in a game. I say that with the DPS is doing so much, but Onslaught are focusing the tanks, so no room is getting made. The DPS it doesn't matter how much damage they're doing. They can't get in. They're not touching the objective.
Right.
It's so key. Whoosh going to try to make some room here, but Inara with treacherous ground and a wall is in the way. No matter where he goes, he's not going to be able to make it in without dying.
And there is a hunting party mark on Whoosh, so they at least knew where he was back behind that wall. Bowling ball to go in, but look at the way that health bar melts. Assert dominance drops down, certainly going to drop. The stun does time out. Actually, the bowling ball keeps him alive just a little bit. Nemesis are starting to turn this fight around as the Ancient Rage from the Makoa starts to even things out for Nemesis. Up on the high ground, Richie JBC firing away, but the kills are all in favor of SJP with a double kill in this fight, and at 96% for Onslaught. Could not have come a moment sooner if you're Nemesis.
Yeah, great ultimates, I think, from Nemesis to retake that. At least the Ancient Rage specifically. Through time and space did find one pick early, but just using the Ancient Rage to counter Onslaught's ultimate is really good. Crossfire coming in as an attempt for a retake. They get SJP, but can their tanks touch the point? The Inara just barely there.
No!
They don't make it. The Dome Shield doesn't end up slowing them down, but helps them confirm the kill on Ionishi. Onslaught had that in the bag, but just
that was close.
Their ultimates got countered.
I mean, honestly, if they were able to get a touch there, they actually may have ended up winning that mid because they killed off Boo's SJP right off the bat with the crossfire. I mean, things are actually looking very much in favor of Onslaught. Just a moment too late now. A double kill from Whoosh keeps this payload moving forward. there's been such a game of give and take where the capturing team has been able to get right in the base of the defending team right off the back of the mid fight here. The Sentinels for Ralkion are going to look to stall things out. Look at the way that shield melts. You get Wrecker 3 and some Sentinels on a Vivian, and that is not a lot of uptime for any shields that are on your side.
Yeah, especially when they catch Boosh with the Inara in his face. He tries to dash away, gets hit with the treacherous ground, and then there's no out really at that point. He has to start building resilience because since a recent change, I believe, I want to say start of this ranked season, resilience now affects channel slows.
Sure.
So any slow that is on the ground and does not go away is affected by that. Used to be you would always slow to a certain percent, but now with resilience 2 or 3, you can walk out of it almost like it's not there. He really needs to get that up, or else he's going to keep getting farmed by these DPS.
God. Getting farmed there is Ralkion. 1, 2, 3 punch from Sir James Parker. Minute and 10 seconds left now is where we stand. Also, you pointed out the deft hands on the Vivian.
Yeah, I think he has it again.
And there was a deft hands 2 here. There was a moment there. So 3 2-tier red items for Ralkion here: Cauterize, Wrecker, and deft hands. There was a moment where I saw the reload, and then I forgot that there was deft hands, and I was like, how is Vivian reloading that fast? And look at this. He feels like he doesn't need to stop firing because that reload is just so much faster. And this is about as Vivian gameplay as you get. You aim down your sights and you just fire away. Fortunately for him, SJP finds that kill. Swarmshi as well is going to be the next to go down for Onslaught. So a good-looking start to this push for Nemesis. They have some ultimates as well if they want to force this one through.
Inishi had a great stagger there, just buying time for the respawns to come in. He's going to be a little bit staggered on the refight, but it looks like Nemesis isn't going to get too forward here. No, they're going to take the right side, get some ground, try to bully out the tanks. Fortress Breaker shield in the way, not going to be able to get a hook while the poke comes in. Flame might get bullied out, but they're buying enough time for Inishi to come back to contest the objective.
They're ready with Ancient Rage, Enlightenment through time and space. Barrage, of course, you'd like to do it without. A good hook might just set you up. They're going to use the Ancient Rage anyway. The Ash is the first to go. Now he's up in the face of this Vivian, trying to burn through that shield, but nobody's in range to contest down on the ground there. And Onslaught find themselves a defense.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
No, either do I. I mean, the fight is breaking out, and then I am assuming... I wasn't quite watching the kill feed as that went through, but I'm assuming you just lose your frontliners while the Makoa is off, kind of tangoing on the opposite side, and then you just have nobody left in range.
I'm assuming just an unfortunate death timing there, wasn't able to contest the objective while the Makoa was trying to do it the right. I don't think Flame was in the wrong there. I think Flame
he was engaging the fight. You're right.
Yeah, he was pressuring the right side. The Vivian, if they needed that damage on Cart, now it was out of the way, not being used. But not having that Ancient Rage for this mid fight, considering it won them that last mid fight more or less, is going to be a really big deal.
I mean, Whoosh is really the only one who's having, I would say, quote, a bad game. I mean, 4-10 and 16, he's doing, I guess, what he needs to do this time around. You look at the KDs, you're not assuming this is 3-2 in favor of Onslaught through time and space as well. After the side assert, Dominance gets sniped out by SJP. Cooldown reset to 50. The Enlightenment finds its mark this time around. Back around the pillar here just to keep himself alive is the Grover. SJP, though, firing away. OS Ghost, the next to drop down. The Whirlwind is used for Onslaught just to keep them in this fight. They have 27%, but here's the re-engage from Nemesis.
Onslaught still capturing this whole time. Nemesis finally getting some cap time. Inishi going to die on point, but SJP doesn't want to shoot him. Flame manages to get the kill. Both DPS is kind of hugging this stage side. Nemesis with point control, but all of them are alive, and they still have the assert dominance because it was traded out for that Enlightenment earlier. Going in onto Richie in the back. Can he get this? Booping him. He actually manages to barely get away. Can he live?
Nice.
No, he cannot. Goodbye, Swarmshi to find that. Ghost finding Flame on the other side, too. This is looking great for Onslaught.
This could be the end of the game if Swarmshi is able to keep controlling this backline, and that they do. 72% for Onslaught as they come in. Still Seismic Crash. If there's any last-ditch effort for Nemesis, it's certainly going to be stopped by that. 93%. Nobody from Nemesis in range. And Enlightenment just to cap off the loss here. And the Grover dance to seal things up.
I forgot they cut to us that quickly, honestly.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting that to be on stream, I'm going to be honest.
I'm glad it was. Perfect recreation of the dance there. And another great game from Onslaught. And this is one, as we jump into the post-game stats, you won't expect that they were the team that won this game. This is the perfect example of one team is playing team deathmatch. The other team is just kind of playing for the objective, playing their fights a little bit better, and Onslaught take the day.
I mean, it's kind of like just how that comp is going to end up, right? Because they have a long-range poke comp. They're going to get a ton of damage that doesn't really amount to anything.
Oh, Richie.
They're going to...
From Nemesis.
...not die.
Hi, Dave.
What's up, Dave? They're going to not die as much because they're playing in such safe positions.
Right.
So the stats being a little bit one-sided towards Nemesis, that's just the nature of their composition with the spam.
I mean, 194k damage. That's twice today we've been within like 5k of 200,000. It'll happen eventually. 15-3 and 25 for Richie. SJP on the bottom side here, 18-8 and 16. Kind of the saving grace for the Leon this time around. You know, great game out of Sir James Parker. Finding a few of those poke kills, staying on top of it a little bit here and there. Ionishi, bit of a tough game as well, but they win the day.
Yeah, I mean, they found the picks they needed to. They got the point control they needed to. Swarmsheet dying 15 times, but every time the camera cut to him, I felt like he was applying really good pressure.
Yeah.
I felt like he was making a big difference. I mean, his assert dominance won that last fight, you know?
Right.
14 deaths. They were winning most of the game. If 14 deaths lead to that, it's great for them.
15-0 and 33 notably for Jeff the Raccoon this time around. Maybe one or two through time and space snipes. I mean, you always got to give props to a support who's able to go on a 38 streak with 0 deaths by the end of it. So well played there. Onslaught taking game number 2. Remember, towards the back end, this was back in the heating up, and Invictus, I believe, was what they started out as last split. Invictus was winning the history.
Dave blew the dust off the books.
That's right.
He was,
Let me
he was looking this up earlier.
The page disintegrated in my hands. It was so old. The book hadn't been opened in so long. Onslaught, though, taking the first couple of games. Frog Isle to top off their most recent win. Convincing performances from them. One more game, but first, a quick break.
Skillshot, the official production partner of the Paladins Console League.
Looking back at the good times before it all went down. Climbed right up on the hillside, a different view of my life. You left me running on and on, but I don't care, would you let me in? You said goodbye like everything's gone, everything that we could have been. But I know you are my liability. Yeah, I know you are my liability.
Welcome back, everybody. I wandered my way onto the desk again. This isn't the commentator's booth,
Who
for
let
what it
you
is I'm
here?
noticing. But now that I'm here and I've kicked Gore and the rest of them off of this desk, I am now in this spot, unable to be claimed anymore.
Oh man, that was definitely a bit of a more interesting game I think, for me, because there was those very two different dynamics in play. And though you saw a ton of damage and really good slash lines for a lot of those backliners on the side of Nemesis, it was still Onslaught who, for the most part, controlled it. And that's like, remember when I was explaining like the heart and soul of that Na'Vi squad?
Right,
How,
yeah.
That was kind of it. Like they'll just be getting trashed in the KDs, not doing any damage, but they're winning the game.
Right,
Because they're controlling the objective and they're controlling the map better.
Yeah, I mean, and it always comes down to that. We've seen a few games like on EU, and we saw it in NA as well, like just now, where it was like, oh wow, they're not getting all these kills. They're not really doing a lot, but they're winning the game though.
Yeah.
So they're playing it better.
Whoever scores more points wins the game. Quality.
You've heard it first.
It's a top secret info, dude.
Master brain
don't leak
info
that one.
coming out from Nick. We're gonna go right to the maps and see what it is that they're gonna decide to pick for this round. Brightmarsh. Okay.
Yep, Brightmarsh and man, Onslaught's not really going to be asked to change much here, Stefan. The sort of theme of their day is that map control, whether it's through that triple tank, but just trying to bulldoze you and bully you out. If they can make it work on Frog Isle, bro, they are not going to have any problems making this work on Brightmarsh. They kind of run back the same. We'll see what the bans are and what kind of priorities they place in the draft, but they just kind of run back what they did on Jaguar Falls, and they should be good for another, 7-minute win.
Yeah, I mean, what else is there to say about that, right? They played so effectively last time, and we can sort of expect it to be the same this time around, especially on Brightmarsh. They go for the Atlas Tyra ban, which is pretty much the same. They decided to opt for the Victor instead. They go for Victor Talus. Last time I believe the ban was Torvald, so they're leaving him open now. So that means that one of the teams might try and take him.
They certainly might. Nemesis are going to hover Vivian. Tyra's banned out, Victor's banned out, so she's kind of like the last of that little AR squad left, so maybe even feeling the priority for that. There is a ton of damage amp still left on the table, though, like Stefan mentioned, Torvald open. He's going to get hovered locked. Genos, Onslaught have been grabbing that first pick, so you better believe if it's open in the second and third picks, they're definitely scooping that.
They're opting for the double damage amp, and I can't imagine a more dangerous situation to have double damage amp, especially on these hit scan characters. Tyra is gone, though. So is Talus, so is Victor. They decided to take the last remaining hit scan for Vivian, so it'll be interesting to see who Onslaught decides to pick for this round.
For sure, and it's good. It's solid. It's like the core of that win condition is already there and brewing. They just got to kind of pick, you know, what complement do they want alongside of it.
Right.
The thing that is a little bit concerning, because it's going to be different, is Torvald is not really that bully frontline. You know what I mean? If anything, he's misclassed as a frontline. He's really more of a support character. He's not going to be able to kind of bully and control the map and zone people away. Terminus and Makoa are going to stand where they want to stand, and Torvald's going to have to be secondary to that, which is a different speed than Onslaught have been playing the other two games in this set.
Yeah, for sure. Like, the Torvald Genos pick, like, we say it literally all the time. Like, Torvald is a bubble bot. Like, he's there to put those bubbles on the people, to amp their damage. And one thing it is that's notable for Torvald is that it's different than the primary fire where, okay, are they running the triple? Yeah. They're just going for it. They're just taking everything from Onslaught in this case. But they already locked their Inara, already locked their Torvald, their Genos, their Willow.
Yeah.
But for the Willow, though, which is, I guess...
This is like game one all over again.
Yeah, it's
just
literally,
flip-flop the team names, though.
Yeah, it's literally like, it's so close. Oh, will they go for the Koga? Will they? Is he a priority pick over somebody like Leon for this?
So this is a closer range map, right? And Koga pairs very well with Torvald. Not that Leon doesn't, obviously, given what we've seen. I think the thing with Koga is he used to be extremely popular, especially on console. A little bit so on PC. But this combination of Torvald, Koga, we'll see if they go for the claw build style, because that was what was really special about this combination, or if they go for the submachine gun style of play. Either way, I'm just curious to see how Onslaught play this one out, because it's a very different speed than what they've been doing previously.
Whose do you like better?
I like the Nemesis draft, man. These
draft,
corny
the
triple
triple tank.
I like to see him every once in a while, man. I'll be honest. It's like a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you don't really see that often, but when it does come out, it definitely is a banger for sure. We're going to send it right down to our casters, Krolson.
Nope. Still nope. I don't like it. The only ones that work are Krez, Nick, and Fa Nick, I think. I think Nick and then you guys are the key.
There's still Dweemer. That is still up
Dweemer
there.
is fine. I can roll with Dweemer. Bright Marsh is where we're going to go down to. Nick liked the Nemesis draft. He liked the triple tank kind of cheesiness. I think you were feeling the same way, though, in that draft screen.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned before, triple tank's win rate on console is really high. Onslaught has a chance with their draft. I mean, they have a lot of burst damage, but it's going to be a lot of how far into the late game can they get. I mean, Makoa Khan are pretty reliant on their shields to get away in some situations, and they got to be able to burn through them.
I mean, the kind of the meme early on in the console league last split was Torvald Koga, Genos Koga. Right when damage amp kind of started to swing into the meta, you get a little bit of both here. If you're Onslaught, OS Ghost, formerly of course TKO Ghost, for Onslaught, looking to make some good on the Koga this time around. First, a look at the new Koga skin to top it all off. Is there enough damage to deal with what Nemesis are bringing? At least off the start, it seems that way.
Not at that distance, though. I'm surprised they got the pick. Woosh kind of went alone onto the point, but Ghost is playing really far away. I'm not sure how he's going to be able to find the damage he wants. Now that Flame is pushing, he might be able to, but he's just taking these shots. Bubble comes in a little bit too late from the Torvald. He rotates to the tree, but Onslaught actually still have point control this whole time.
Been fighting from the point the entire time, 78% for them. Nemesis now on the retake. Hook goes just wide. That would have been a dead Inara had that one connected. Woosh now playing point tank on this Terminus, looking for a little bit of damage as the retake attempt from Onslaught starts to come back through. 48%, now 81. They're just juggling this back and forth. The wall actually forces Nemesis all the way around to the opposite side here at 99%. They're not even able to get in a touch. How effective was that wall?
They hesitated. I mean, Sir SJP could have just dashed in, but they just hesitated. They were like, they went around the corner, everyone together, huddled up, like, all right, guys. Now he's touching. And nobody said me. And they weren't able to get the touch because of that. Onslaught winning the first mid. Double ult kill by Ghost, actually. You don't usually see Koga's ultimate finding those kills, but Today it manages to. Ghost still pushing the right side here. They're just going to try to maybe find a little bit of damage, get some extra energy, but for now it's all in Onslaught's hands.
The sole kill for Nemesis, Jeff the Raccoon, the Grover support. I know, it's a brilliant, brilliant name. And great player of the game, absolutely on top of that. Only kill for Nemesis is on the Grover. You have some ultimates. The first round starting to come up. Second round being charged up for a couple of the players as well. Through time and space, there is the Fae Flight. Ralkion's going to try to find a kill. Flying high up in the air. The Torvald bubble even reaching up that high. Does get clipped by Richie JBC. Not enough Torvald shielding to stop that one off. This may be where you expect this Onslaught team to be winning because of the Torvald bubbles, no wreck or any of that. Do you expect them to be winning maybe even harder right off the bat?
I think it's easier for Nemesis to stay deathballed at this point because it's such a narrow choke. They can kind of stay together on top of each other, making it harder for Onslaught to find the opening on the side.
Sure.
Biggest misplay, I think, in that last fight was that the Fae Flight, after they got bubbled, she did not drop down to avoid. Like, she was low, got bubbled, like, nice, I'm safe, and then
shoot me.
Stayed, yeah, exactly. And now, your 5-course meal, I am the first course. But still, Jeff the Raccoon actually finding Ayanishi, backing up on the side there. With the help of some Dead Zone not really helping her get away. Nemesis pushing with all 3 tanks through this tree area, trying to find some follow-up kills, and they might find this Torvald here.
Yeah, if you're Torvald, you're a little bit sad. That's a good nullify, keeping him up in the air there, but just whacking away. Actually gets cleaned up. They don't end up getting the kill. Ghost and Swarmshi combining for 2. Ayanishi makes it 3 for Onslaught as they re-begin this push. A second time up on the high ground. SJP keeping himself alive, going up against Ghost right now. That's going to be a dead con when that reload does come in. Happens this time around. Had a good double kill from the Koga. I believe maybe got another kill. That's a good hook, though. He's able to dash himself out. Has to use some of his energy, though. Back behind the Inara wall. It's going to clip things out here. Flame Effects has to use the Siphon, and the Ancient Rage comes out as well to try to turn this around for Nemesis. First kill, though, goes on to Whoosh. Could he reanimate? Does not choose to do so right now. The Overpower as well grabs a kill for Sir James Parker.
Yeah, and that's the Torvald out of the way, which means the Koga's going to be a lot less effective. They want to keep pushing this, though, and Nara is willing to use her wall and keep this contested, but Flame, great hook onto the Koga, has to use his dash to get away, but no follow-up damage comes in. Flame barely avoids it.
That was
Whoosh,
close.
good call on Whoosh not reanimating because he was able to respawn, but the Cyclone Strike in the backline finds just Raccoon.
Maybe pulls things back. Ralkion's alive as well, but Sir James Parker starting to come alive on this con. A double kill in the final fight is going to secure this one for Nemesis. Interesting use of Cyclone Strike there for Ghost. I mean, I guess it charges quick enough that it won't be
it was just buffed,
super detrimental. So maybe a last attempt at a saving grace for Onslaught there. Good fight back from Nemesis. 6-1 and 3 for the con is really what's, I think, holding Nemesis in this game right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one getting all the confirms here. He is top damaging on the tanks, but Richie's putting on the deeps, and SJP's just getting all the frags, getting all the cleanup. Onslaught, I'm trying to think of how they could have converted that. I know Ralkion actually died during another Fae Flight in that earlier fight. He does almost have it again, does charge very quickly, but he needs to be a little more conservative here. There's enough damage between Richie and SJP where he can't really just stay in the air like that.
Yeah, you have to be careful. I mean, it's sneaky. You think going into a triple tank composition, they kind of slowly grind you down over time, but with a con, with a Makoa, one good hook, you're done for. Sentinels are ready for Richie when he does choose to bring those out. Ayanishi with the first kill in this one. There's the reanimate. Doesn't find any kills, though, but keeps him back in the fight. The stun comes slamming down. Doesn't end up needing it for Ayanishi. It's a 1-for-1 trade up to this point. Ghost down on the low ground as well, trying to rip through the hook. Just a little bit wide, but that's a 4-stack, 3-stack now on the point for Nemesis. It's going to be a hard retake if you're Onslaught.
Yeah, especially without the Fae Flight, because I think that's a really big way to spam them out, bully them off point. Ghost going to try to find an opening up top on the rim, but he's not able to. Richie rotates back to counter him. Great hook on the side, actually, onto the Torvald.
Yeah,
he
wow.
shouldn't be able to get away from this, but it is distracting them from the point. Ayanishi managed to retake that. Very enthusiastic hyper beam from Swarmshi. I got to give it to him. He went for it.
Yeah, I mean, it was sort of a last-ditch effort. In a way, honestly, forces them back a little bit. Overpower onto the Inara as well. Nemesis looking like they're well on their way to taking this one as they're down at 75%. A hook onto Ralkion. Cleans that one up to top it all off. Ghost just with the last-ditch effort, and it looks like Nemesis, for the first time this game, have found themselves a mid-fight.
Yep, Swarmshi coming in just to get some last-second touch. Maybe some extra ult charge as he did just expend it. Doesn't amount to too much. Buys them a little bit of time for respawns. Ayanishi takes that left area. Triple tank, pretty solid control here.
Yeah.
All 3 kind of spread out. Great stun onto Ayanishi. Instantly melted. Flame not finding the hook, but Whoosh finding quite a few charges from those seedlings.
Yeah, that Inara's had a real tough time this game, going up against a Makoa, a Khan. And a Terminus through time and space yet again, going a little bit just wide. Certainly not an automatic ult. There's a stun that comes slamming down. Actually, Ralkion able to dodge the way out of that one. The Torvald bubble keeping the Willow alive. Here's the Faithlight, though. Hasn't found the most value up to this point in this game. Looking for a little bit extra right now. Whoosh, SJP, both go down. Ralkion going to try to keep the aggression going here. Maybe an extra kill on a Jeff the Raccoon. Further stalls this out. With 1:45, Onslaught have found themselves a good defense. Still have the seismic crash if they really need it. No ultimates ready for Nemesis. But, you know, another 30, 45 seconds into this one, that's when you start saying we need to maybe be saving for the next mid-fight as well.
Yeah, I like Ralkion's reaction to the Terminus aggression. The Shadowfall came in, and he immediately responded with a Flutter, which put him back into a corner where he wasn't seen and gave him the DR to live through it.
Yep.
Great kill from his team to help him go. And he also even used his Flight better. Oh, that was a rough one.
That's a good vocal warm-up.
That is. He's adapting pretty well. He hid from the Vivian as he was flying around, making it unable to put him on. But the triple tank aggression from Nemesis right now is pretty hard to deal with. Double crush stun actually finds Swarmsheet. Koga has to go a little bit deep, might get SJP, but this looks like it's a good defense from offense, from Nemesis.
Up and over goes Ralkion as well, looking to drop this Terminus, and it does play out that way. The Whale has been somewhat hit or miss this game. That time is hitting, though. Faithlight is ready with 50 seconds left. You'd like not to have to use that just yet as well. They do use the Cyclone Strike from the Koga. Looks like Ionishi a bit caught out here. Void Grip brings up the Makoa. He's going to be able to shell spin his way out of here. Flame affects the ex-Paladins minor league man, making his way into the console league here. Overpower as well is ready. Sentinels get used by the Vivian, but Whoosh he's just having such a hard time on this offensive push. Getting involved, staying involved, some good stuns as well. And finding himself dead more than with any kills under his belt. With 18 seconds left, it looks like Onslaught have found themselves a successful defense.
There's actually a really big thing going into play here. That Koga, I believe, if I can check the items, I believe he has Wrecker. And that's important because, let me see.
2,
yes. He has Wrecker 2. That's important because, not people know this, but the damage you do with your guns onto the shields gives you more energy for Adrenaline Junkie.
Right.
So it gives him a ton more sustain, because if he's shooting that Makoa shield, if he's shooting that Con shield, he's getting more dashes than he would have otherwise. His sustain goes up exponentially when he gets away with it.
And he's making full use of it this time around. Ralkion as well, having a good defensive half there. I mean, I noticed last time around Nemesis were able to really control the early game, or early mid-fight, I should say, and then we're able to kind of just 2-3 stack the point from then on out.
Yeah.
Is that just a case of Onslaught kind of need to win immediately and prevent Nemesis from getting into a comfortable position like that?
It could be. They just need to find the picks. They're harder to get a little bit established. Well, they have a good way to reestablish, but the triple tank is even harder to stop coming in.
Right.
I mean, there's just so much health. You have to find someone isolated, and when Nemesis play well, it's going to be hard
Especially
for
with
Onslaught to
Grover.
crack that. Exactly. They're going to be playing tight. No one's really going to be isolated, and that's what Onslaught's looking for.
Here, Overpower. Looks like it did connect as the cooldown went to 0. Off the map. Does not hit any environmental hazards on the way out. Actually, very low is the Makoa, but there is the stun onto Whoosh. Gets 1. The crash comes down as well. He has 2 health. Reanimate likely coming in here. If he wants to use it, he is going to end up using it. Up through the map he goes. No damage, though, onto Ionishi. The Inara stays alive as the Void Grip picks up Whoosh. Actually may end up dropping here regardless of the ultimate usage, but there's 3 tanks in your face. You got to back off if you're the Inara.
Yeah, I mean, that wall being used there, unfortunate. Wow, Hyper Beam actually might catch Flame here. Barely
close.
lives, skates Tony Hawk Pro Skater on the edge there. Cyclone Strike coming in to try to clean up the point, but the Shout does nullify it. All 3 tanks here on the point trying to find Ghost. They lost track of him. Does die to Jeff the Raccoon. Onslaught having to back up here. Nemesis, really good retake. That Reanimate was a little risky, but he did manage to get away.
This may be the same story that we saw previously where Onslaught nearly capture the point, get forced off at the end, and then are unable to retake it from then on out. They're electing to kind of put Whoosh and Flame Effects as this 2-stack, sending the Makoa, or the Con, I should say, off to the opposite side. Ralkion's the first to go down here. No stun with the CC immunity onto Ionishi, but likely still going to go down anyway. And yet again, 2 kills from Nemesis onto Onslaught's going to net them point number 3 here. Last-minute contest coming out from Ghost. Shouldn't matter too much. Nemesis are now pushing for their first win in the set.
Too many good ultimates online for Nemesis. I mean, look, they still have Whirlwind overpowering Sentinels. Like, Sentinels is a little bit less so of a super impactful ultimate, but they still have so much in the tank even after using that. Onslaught's going to have to get kills that they aren't expecting. You know, they have to find a pick on someone who has an ultimate and is waiting to use it, but Nemesis is just playing too tight to allow them to do that.
I mean, you guys pointed it out very well. The Deaths did. and then you made a note of it, as the overpower is successful onto the Torvald yet again. It's just, you're playing with a Grover, you're playing with 3 tanks. The way to beat that is finding a pick if somebody's caught out, but they're too smart to get caught out. They're all just going to roll together, all within that realm of healing, and wow, that's a 4-sweep-5. Torvald came a little earlier on the respawn here. No ultimates left. They used them all there to get it in, but now you're in that weird spot where unless you have vertical mobility, really only the Koga, only the Willow, unless you have Summit for Ayanishi here, you have to drop down in order to contest. You cannot get back up once you do. Torvald maybe in range from the high ground to put some bubbles down. Seismic Crash hoping to pull things back, but it gets walled off by himself. Unfortunate there. And Nemesis are looking real good to push this one in and end this game.
Yeah, Onslaught's clearly feeling the pressure. Ayanishi barely missing that. And okay, sure.
What was the other one?
I was starting to build up. I was getting there. And,
no, it was Frog Eye. We've had like 2 of those in this set where a fight's getting ready, 1 pick, and then it just rolls in. And I guess that time around, they just find the kill onto the necessary champions, and Nemesis find win number 1.
Yeah, I mean, they're clearly feeling the pressure. I mean, that's the second just ignoring of the objective in a row. I mean, this is... Yeah. They got to be feeling it because this is a team that they traded back and forth with. Every win matters. You know, they went, you said, went 2-2 last time. It went down to almost map differential. Everything matters.
And you know, you don't want to put too much emphasis on these super early games in the split, but you're right. I mean, these are 2 teams that traded back and forth. They were the ones standing at the end going to MSI. You're looking towards HRX. I mean, like you said, every win matters at this point. 129k damage for the Koga, 135 for the Willow. Not enough this time around as Nemesis finds win number 1. Another rough game from the Terminus, but Richie does just enough damage to keep his team on top.
Yeah, I mean, Terminus took a lot of damage, siphoned a lot of damage. It's not really, his job isn't really to be, you know, outputting this crazy.
No, that's true.
His job is to be peeling for everybody else. All these tanks, their strength is that when they get in, they usually have a way out. Woosh can Shatterfall out, siphon himself out. Flame has shield and dash. SJP has the shield and the shout to get away. His stat line clearly suffered trying to let the rest of his tanks go off, but I mean, 3 deaths between both of them.
And big shouts to Jeff, I have to say. 211,000 healing in this game. Lots of healthy tanks, lots of whirlwind healing as well to top them off. But at 5-3 and 22, doubled up the healing that Onslaught was able to put out this time.
That's even through a dead zone.
Right,
too.
That's true. You have the dead zone, able to out-heal that even a little bit. 13-3 and 9 goes Richie on the Vivian. Of course, 10-3 and 15 for Khan. But when you're playing a triple tank composition, you're the 1 damage dealer. Just a little bit of extra added pressure in order to perform. Of course, Vivian, very consistent damage, especially with those Sentinels out. And at a 5.8 KDA, Richie played it well.
Yeah, I mean, with Tyra, there's a little bit less pressure on you because you're tanks that you're kind of supplementing their damage. But with Vivian, it's really all on you. Your tanks are going to do respectable damage, but if you're not putting down the damage for them to be confirming at the end of those kills, your team's just not going to win.
I feel like at this point, you should be drafting in order to not let the other team get triple tanked because you're right, the win rate is nutty. I'm not sure what the stat is on that, but I rarely see that lose.
It's like a devil's gambit, right? Because if you ban tanks and then suddenly they get all these god tier DPSs and you ban DPSs like they do in the console league and they get these triple tank compositions.
That's right. Triple tank wins the day yet again. Nemesis with their first win in this set, but Onslaught still up 2-1. Will they end it on the next one? You'll have to stick around after this break to find out.
SteelSeries, the official peripheral provider of the Paladins console league.
Hi, it's me, Fawn again, ready to go, joined by Nick.
Yo.
That's it. That's my introduction for right now. No, I'm just kidding. That was a very, very interesting game that we saw last time on Bright Marsh. Nemesis actually did manage to get their first point for that. I'll see if Onslaught can actually close it out, though. I don't know. That Dave and Kresnik brought up a good point. That triple tank win rate today has been really high.
Yeah, it's tough to stop because you can see even when people get something like a Willow, which you would look at it on paper, you say, okay, blast damage adds up over time. It's like the talent's perfect for it. Dead zone's perfect in theory to stop it. It's like you have all these things in theory to stop something like that. But in practice, it just doesn't line up. You know, when you look at a paper matchup like kind of in a vacuum, you assume that player is hitting every dead zone perfectly, never missing, never being dead at a critical time when you might want some type of pressure like that. The Koga was a little bit interesting to me as well. Again, does a ton of damage, a boatload of damage. But you kind of look at the healing stat as well. When that Grover has about 100,000 more healing than the Genos, it's like, well, there is just so much to saying, yes, I get it, you're doing a ton of damage, but we have 3 tanks, a lot of self-sustain in there as well, as our Grover's throwing 100,000 extra health on top of what is already a very tanky lineup. It's like, you just kind of get it. It starts to make sense. It's just overwhelming after a certain bit.
Yeah, I mean, what a map to pick it on Bright Marsh as well.
Yeah, it's a great map for it.
It's very, very hard to escape a triple tank comp like that. However, Bright Marsh was the last map. We're going to see what they have in store for this map, though. They do decide to go Splitstone Quarry for this map. Makes sense. It's a very spacious map, a lot of space, so I can imagine that we've seen it before. Maybe the Drogos, maybe the Willow, a lot of movement-based characters, maybe. We'll still probably see this. Not necessarily we'll see the same, but we'll probably still see like Victor, Vivian, Tyra.
Again, those ones are pretty plug and play for console on almost any map. And Splitstone is going to lean a little bit more towards almost like a Frog Isle dynamic where it's not quite the Jag Falls, it's not quite the Bright Marsh. There is some cover near the objective, but for the most part, you're actually kind of shooting down into a bowl almost, where a Willow might be something that's super high priority on this map.
Right.
If those 2 drafts were drafted on Splitstone Core, then this might be it might have been a different story, you know what I mean? If Willow has a nest to just shoot down from and just rain pain from above, I think she might have been enough to shut down a triple frontliner almost on her own, and then you have just kind of the Surge and Koga going in there and removing whoever's low and back and cover, things like that. I don't expect either team to go for quite the same flavor of composition. I don't really expect much for a triple frontline here.
Yeah, Onslaught decides to like the Victor first. They did ban out the Vivian and the Tyra. They want the hit scan for themselves. They want to be able to lock in Victor. And as a result, Nemesis going the Atlas Makoa, that's a very dangerous dual frontline that I'm seeing right now.
Again, to kind of extrapolate on why I don't expect a triple frontline here, at least in the Premier League, what we've seen is that if you draft a composition and it's thematically like a triple tank would operate, you're going to be kind of down near that fidget spinner, under the bleachers, in that little cave, dominating that zone.
Right.
But you're going to give up the other, 75% of the map. You're going to get attacked from all the different doorways from above. And you're just not going to be able to hold that part of the map out. You have the perfect comp to do it, but it's not enough. That's not the right way to attack this map. So again, really strong frontliners drafted on both sides. It's a great point that Kresnik makes. They just ban out top tier DPSs, and you get this. Well, Nemesis, they're gonna go for it again.
Let's see if they
We'll see what happens.
I mean, they are hovering the Terminus once again. Grover is picked for that AoE healing to at least keep all those tanks alive and pretty feeling healthy. And it does seem like they do decide to go for the triple frontline again, despite what it was you just said, Nick. Evidently,
almost. All right, we'll get to see it.
Yeah. I was like, I guess.
Put the analysis to the test.
Right. Yeah. Let's see if they're able to clutch this one now. They do end up locking the Willow, like I was mentioning before. Her being able to maneuver so well in these situations on Splitstone is going to be really huge. And they do lock the Genos once again, because I already noticed that Grover's already picked. So I wonder who they're going to try and go for. They're going for Lian this time. Okay.
So not only is Victor, I think, a little bit better than Koga, kind of for different ways, but I think the right way, right? You have your barrage, you have your grenade. Victor has ways to punish clumping as well as being a very high single target damage dealer. On top of the fact that Khan, I think, provides a bit of that like surgical removal that Koga would have otherwise filled, where he can just overpower somebody, dunk him into the fidget, environmental hazards, something like that, to get them a free pick. Because once you take one little link out of the chain of a triple tank composition, it kind of starts to fall apart.
Yeah, I mean, whose team do you like more? I always have to ask it. You always have to ask it at least once before the game
This
starts.
time I would like to see Onslaught like make the adjustment mentally, as well as a small adjustment in the draft, but overall I want to see that they learned how to beat this.
Well, you've heard it here, folks. Well, you've heard it here, folks. You've heard it here first. Let's get down to the casters, folks, I guess is what I should say. But let's get right down to the casters and see what's going on.
Appreciate it, fellas. Game 4 about to kick off here. Nemesis, I think that was a roundabout way for Nick saying he still likes Nemesis's draft better. He's like, which one do you like better? Well, I hope Onslaught can learn from their mistakes. Never explicitly said it, but I still think Nemesis, I mean, you got to go with history. They have a good draft.
Yeah.
They have triple tank. They got a Grover to round it all together. Signs point to them winning this map.
But if there ever were a map that Onslaught will flip it around and beat the triple tank, it would be this one. I think they have a pretty solid draft for it. It's hard for the triple tank to get out of the quarry, I think, is with the Willow out there. If they can keep them locked in while their Inara gets cap time, this is good. They have 2 good tanks to play into triple tank.
Right. And notably, I think you pointed out that you no longer have the combat, you have the Atlas, but kind of a net increase in a way. I mean, it's a better version of what they just brought out on Bright Marsh. Nick was pointing out also very well that maybe the overpower turns things around. Early aggression, flame effects, getting up in behind the Willow here in this case. Actually going to find the kill onto the Genos on top of it. Maybe even a double kill. He's able to bounce back behind his wall, but Onslaught have themselves 57% already.
I like the start of the mid by Onslaught. They sent people behind to get on their high ground because they figured, oh, well, they're just going to mount through quarry to try to get to us. Great hook, actually, onto the point, onto Swarmshi, but it wasn't able to get away quite from that, unfortunately for him. Resetting here on the point with Nemesis. The Onslaught's plan on the mid just didn't work out the way they wanted it to. I think the overcommitment up top by the Willow, by Ralkion, just didn't let them get away with the rotation.
And it's similar, honestly, to what they were trying on Bright Marsh, where like early aggression, maybe a pick or two is going to get them something working out. But then Nemesis, we'll lose 1 or 2, but too much staying power on that mid section, and it works out this time around for them as well. 81% for the red team. Trying to find something now as Onslaught to win one of these mid fights. Getting rid of flame effects to start things off. Adding it into a Faith Light is a good way to follow things up here. Having to back off is the Makoa into the Shell Shield. He goes. Swarmshi as well gets one. Soon is going to go SJP on this Makoa. Now it's just down to a Terminus with very little health. It looks like Onslaught have cracked this case and are going to get point number 1.
I love the melee range Faith Lights. It's actually my favorite way to use it, just because I've been on the receiving end and I know, like, when they're in my face, it's just like, oh, come on. Like, how do you hit them? But still, a really good, I think, use of the pressure from the Willow. She got a lot there, kind of forced them into the quarry. Great aggression, too, by Swarmshi to find the kills from the damage that Ralkion was doing. I mean, if he wasn't there, I think they could have lived because they managed to block the dead zone, but Swarmshi just perfect aggression through that quarry, getting those confirms for them. And Nemesis now holding the high ground, which is a really advantageous position, but not if they keep eating Willow's.
It's really a lot on the Leon. This is where Leon wants to be fighting from. Whoosh going down yet again on the Terminus. Ayanishi back on the Inara. Obviously a favorite champion for him. The Enlightenment just wide. Richie not only uses it, not only misses it, but also drops down to start off this fight. Ghost with the first kill. SJP answers one back. Looks like the Ancient Rage got used. Ralkion up in the high ground, pulling back a little bit as well. Bit of a formality here on the Genos. Actually, it's going to let him go here. Just heal himself back up and give it another go.
It's actually still a 3v3, but Swarmshi just completely overwhelmed on the point. Ralkion has the high ground, but no way he'll be able to get a confirm. Probably going to die to the Leon here. It barely makes it out, actually. Looking down.
Forced out regardless.
Yeah, exactly. Looking down to mess with his headshot hitbox a little bit. Richie still holding.
That's some like Halo tactics.
Yeah, exactly.
You put your head down and sprint away. I dig it.
It's smart. It's smart. Richie's still holding this high ground. Getting dove by Ralkion, but he doesn't see SJP, but what an overpower! Pulling him into the lava. Great switch there. That's all they needed to break through this defense here. Such a strong high ground defense, and one overpower means it could be flipped if they don't get Whoosh here.
Yeah, and that Makoa is so important. Up and over. The Commander's grab does stun up Whoosh. Just needs to go back behind the Siphon. Ayanishi's going to be the one back there, able to turn things around. Has the reanimate if he wants to use it. That times out. Richie JBC still firing away on the Leon. Off on the backside, hooked in. SJP back in this fight onto Swarmshi. Kills getting traded back and forth, but Richie is the one who stayed alive up to this point. The Leon, so important. We say, you know, you're the one damage dealer on this side, especially Leon. You have so much at stake if you're not able to find these kills. Does it up to this point. An Onslaught after a brilliant start, honestly. The overpower started them off perfectly. Now they're forced back.
Richie's playing so well to keep himself alive, and it's really what's screwing over Onslaught's pushes. They just can't get on him. Like you saw Ralkion fluttering up to try to get some damage in, but he's just getting Grover healed. He didn't want to use the dead zone on the Leon, who could just dash away. Really good positioning by him. We'll have to see if Onslaught can get onto the cart here. Whoosh in a really good position to stop them. Khan getting body blocked. Does barely make it at the end, but he's going to go down for that.
He has to force his way through, get some healing, but there is the kill onto the Khan this time around. Richie has just been keeping Ralkion out of a lot of these fights. 2 kills for Nemesis. Looks like this is going to be it for Onslaught, unless somebody's able to make a miracle play. But the sprinting Victor is going to see to it. The double kill from the Makoa. And Nemesis with a successful defense. 5 ultimates as well. Kill onto Ralkion just to ice that cake. Good play, though. Ayanishi, don't know his exact Nara stats, but most of the games I think he's been able to play in Nara. He's done pretty well. Double kill this time around.
Yeah, he had really solid at the start with the treacherous ground. Not normally seeing people run, but I think he was able to utilize it really well. I mean, most people don't see a win when they pick it a lot of the time.
That's true.
Just the fact that he did is in spite of a lot of things meta-wise here. Onslaught, they can play this mid really well if they rotate everybody. I think holding back Ralkion on the high ground was what screwed them over. Flame kind of came in. Ralkion didn't even notice. I mean, when we cut to Flame's cam, it looked like a of mice and men situation of him up top, just completely unaware of what was going on. We'll have to see how Onslaught decide to adapt this mid.
Yeah, 5 ultimates for Nemesis. Lots to use. Reanimate was not used towards the end of the last round here. Interesting spot through time and space. Could find some value. Looks like it just went over, just went wide maybe. Seismic Crash does finally go through. Whoosh is now stunned up and over. The whirlwind from Nemesis is going to try to even things out here. Richie with the Enlightenment is going to get the shield of Swarmshi and get some healing from the Grover to top it all off. They're all fighting. This big death ball starting to roll through. Ayanishi's been on the point this entire time, poking in from that background. Onslaught have weathered the storm. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Ghost with the pullback. No ultimates left for Onslaught, though. Still plenty for Nemesis to work with.
Fantastic peel by Whoosh onto Flame there. Siphons him out so the Willow can't find the kill. That's actually going to be much more important than we think. Flame, it does get forced to use his rewind there from the poke from Ghost. Good little flank pressure there from him. He might drop to Quarry to try to find this Leon, but SJP finds the Genos in the meantime. It's not that bad right now, but once those marks run out, it's huge, but that's even worse. Richie finding Ghost, going to push out Swarmshi, but they're just going to look at the point. That's
a saving grace. The Victor in this composition so important for burning through these frontliners, and it's not going to work out if he's dead. Nemesis get the kills. Looks like they're going to get themselves a mid-fight as well. Point number 2. At some point, you got to consider not giving the enemy team a triple tank, because Onslaught, after a little bit of a slip-up, or Nemesis, excuse me, a little bit of a slip-up to start off this game, have really made Onslaught pay.
Yeah, the CC they're abusing here is really, really strong. I love the Crush is actually finding a lot of kills, I think, just that. And it's not something you normally see. I mean, well, depending on how my matchmaking is, I see it quite a bit. But it's not something you normally see in these level of games, just like that thing, because it gets countered by Resilience. But if you know you're going to end the game early, it's really, really effective. Ralkion up here spamming down with Fayflight. They're not even looking at him because they have so much health they don't even need to. He's not even a concern for them at this point.
So annoying. You're just flying up high, just tossing shots down, and they're just healing right on through it, through time and space. Comes up empty this time yet again. Ralkion trying to stay alive. 132 health is able to do it. Minute 41 seconds left. Yeah, well, an Ancient Raging Makoa is going to jump into your face. You're sad about that one. Ayanishi makes a double for Sir James Parker. Looks like Nemesis yet again may be able to find a win here if this payload goes through. They only need one more. Commander's grabs, just going to stall things out. But Swarmshi is going to be the next to go down. 1 minute and 22 seconds left for Nemesis, but they might not need it.
Yeah, I mean, using Ancient Rage there, if they cap this quickly, it might be rough for the next mid. Barrage coming out here. Richie dives to dodge it. Barrage goes through the stasis field, but he's going to save the last charge, it looks like, holding on to it to look somewhere else. Atlas wasn't going to die from that, so smart to save it. Overpower coming in on Whoosh. This means he won't be able to reanimate, I think, if he dies. In the spawn, he did, so he's going to really respawn in a moment. Yeah, he's already back there. Denies. They make it so you can't reanimate in the spawn, because that would be a little ridiculous.
That would be wild.
Yeah, that would be very wild. You would also immediately die again. So good thing. Stasis Field uselessly going up in the corner. Unfortunate with the Void Grip. Pretty strong counter to Atlas. Onslaught kind of settling in here, trying to spot them out and settle up with this defense.
That's a good pick on the overpower there by Onslaught. I think needed to happen. That payload was moving quickly in the wrong direction. Reanimate maybe making a difference if he's able not to die fully within the base of Onslaught this time around. Getting so aggressive. Siphon trying to start things off here. Ralkion finding the Leon on the back line is a big loss for Nemesis right now. Now it's down to any of the frontliners to do enough damage to kind of counteract what they're missing. It's not going to go well with the rest of them falling. Whoosh is able to pull one back. With 15 seconds left, a good zone from Onslaught maybe finds themselves a good defense. Just making sure is Ayanishi here with 5 seconds remaining.
Movie's coming out too, right? Double tap?
Double tap, that's right. That's rule number 3 or whatever it was. I don't remember what his rule book was, but somewhere in there is the double tap. Onslaught do just that. Tie this one up at 2. No Ancient Rage for Nemesis. No Overpower on the opposite side for Onslaught. Ralkion thinks he's got himself out and healthy, and then Sir James Parker rounds the corner with Ancient Rage ready. That's not what you want to see.
Yeah, I mean, didn't really need to use it there, but the fight went on long enough. They didn't cap immediately. He's already back at 75%. He'll have it through this mid. All ultimates on the board, basically, except for Ancient Rage and Overpower, 2 of the most influential ones. Swarmshi has been charging it pretty quick. A little bit slower than you'd normally see, though, because of the Vortex script being used.
Right.
The CC's nice, but Overpower is such an impactful ultimate. If you're not finding a kill with every Vortex script, is it really worth it?
That is the question. Are we alone in the universe? Is it worth it if you don't get a kill? These are some things that people ponder on a regular basis. Nemesis, though, with the hook onto SJP. Could start this one off in the wrong way. The Makoa stays alive, gets himself some healing, but down comes the Seismic Crash as well. Oh, that's a brilliant, oh my, good stun, good barrage. OS Ghost gets a double kill. Whoosh, trying to pull things back. Ralkion flanking around the backside here. If you're able to get Richie, this one turns ever so much more in favor of Onslaught. A triple kill in this fight. Good Exile as well. Stalls out the Ralkion offense.
They're all just standing in the dead zone, though. Ralkion did so much while exiled because they just wanted to stand there. Looks like it's not going to make enough of a difference, though.
Oh,
Richie diving, finds Ghost, both DPSs. Commander's Grab barely missed. Can he live? The 500 heal on the Eminence keeps him going, but the kills are going Onslaught's way. Both tanks on the point. Can they focus the same target? We'll have to see.
Oh, I guess he body blocked the
did.
Commander's Grab at the last moment. Oh, he misses the point blank Overpower as well, and he's probably going to die for his efforts once this shield gets burned through. Sir James Parker still had the Ancient Rage. He would have gone into the Fidget Spinners, actually able to get out alive through the Ancient Rage. 66% for Onslaught. Both teams have burned everything. Whoosh still alive. Still a little bit healthy here. Is this Makoa? Down comes the stun. Ayanishi throws up the wall to stop some of the damage from coming in on the opposite side here.
Great aggression by Flame here, actually, right under. Gets the setback, so no heals come in. Cap time now coming in for Nemesis, but Onslaught has a lot of time to work with.
Another barrage.
Yeah, barrage coming in behind that. Flame gets hit twice. Manages to get him barely around the corner. He uses the last charge, but if Onslaught can just get some poke, find a safe angle, they could turn this.
Richie JBC about half health. OS Ghost chose not to take that angle. I think smartly maybe would have gotten a kill, but the Enlightenment maybe probably would have turned things around. 90% for Nemesis here. Onslaught with the retake attempt. You have Faithlight, but that's going to get used by Ralkion. Looking for a kill. The Whirlwind, is he able to get him through it? He's trying to find the healer, but the Vine is going to get him out, get him healthy. The heal as well on the ground. Oh, it keeps him alive. Ralkion's not able to stop off the kill. Finally, Jeff the Raccoon goes down, and it's 99% for Nemesis, but those health bars are low. Richie JBC is trying to pull things back and keep things even for Nemesis.
If Onslaught can stay alive, this is great, because Ralkion has such a good flank position, and no one on Nemesis can afford to look at him. Their time and space comes in, doesn't find anybody, but splits the team. Ralkion finds one in the back. Kills going all Onslaught's way. What a good ending to that by Ralkion.
Wow.
We saw that little situation where he just wanted the Faithlight to end so he could flutter, but they don't kill him. Richie just cannot afford to look at him with the pressure coming in front from Onslaught. Great mid by them, I think. Great retake. Everything at the end was fantastic.
Did he use Enlightenment? I mean, I know it would have gotten reset to 50 if he got a kill.
I don't believe he did.
Guess it didn't see an opening to use the Enlightenment for Nemesis that time around. Up and over goes Whoosh. Formerly TKO Ghost, now OS Ghost is going to be the next to drop as well. So a bit of a stall out here for Onslaught. Nemesis going to get to catch their breath. And this is where things get dangerous if Nemesis is able to set up shop up top here. You got a Leon just firing down on Onslaught as they're trying to retake. Good stagger here as well onto Ayanishi. Onslaught have Faithlight, they have Barrage, Seismic Crash, and Overpower to try to retake this one, try to end this game, end this set. The 3-1 scoreline, but Nemesis not out just yet.
Yeah, Nemesis with this bridge defense, mentioned in an earlier set, this is just a really powerful position. A little better when you have 2 backlines, but Atlas basically counts as one. Doesn't matter if you're thrown into the lava, though, melting to pieces. Flame FX caught by Swarmshi's Overpower.
Ooh, good Seismic Crash, finds 2 up top as well. 1, 2, 3, down they go, make it 4. Whoosh is the last alive. So much value. Faithlight, Overpower, Seismic Crash, a 5 swing. For Onslaught here, Nemesis have everything to defend with. They're going to have to use ultimates to prevent this game and this set from ending. Onslaught are going to look to finish things out. They're going for the throat on this last final push.
I mean, that's how you break through that bridge defense, right? You just have to get a bunch of
Get
solid
somebody.
ultimates. They're actually ignoring Ralkion in main here. Grover's a little split. None of the tanks or the Leon are getting heals on the left. Backing up a little now, but they're going to back up right into the dead zone. Barrage coming in, not sure exactly who it can see. Looks like... Not
Be
sure.
off on the
McCullough got hit,
opposite
McCullough
side.
got hit, got forced. That's it. It was in the mines. He's still playing back here behind his con. They might actually find Richie.
Yeah, watch out for
Whirlwind
Richie.
comes in just to save him. Ghost with really good position
They
here.
get him
Does
anyway.
he find Richie? No, he doesn't look at him. Enlightenment comes in, barely
Wow.
catches him.
I'm
What
surprised he
an
doesn't look down for some reason. He doesn't look down, and just one more headshot onto Richie. The Enlightenment may have saved Richie if he were to use it with maybe one final headshot, maybe realizing that is the victor on the Onslaught side of things. That was very close to going through, but what you forced the Ancient Rage, Whirlwind, Enlightenment out from Nemesis. You're going to have sort of that second wind of ultimates maybe for this next mid-fight if you're Onslaught. Fey Flight to start off around the a minute or two into the next mid-fight. If you're Onslaught, you're going to have your Overpower, your Seismic Crash as well. This one might go down to a 3-3, especially with Reanimate, but Onslaught, one more pick could do it here. Half health, even a quarter health maybe, even as the Genos on the opposite side. Up comes the Fey Flight. Are they going to use it? They do elect to go for it right now, getting a little bit of chunk damage, but Richie's trying to keep him back behind that wall, limiting the line of sight here in this case.
Yeah, Fey Flight getting a lot of damage here. They can't hide from him. Grover has to run away to spawn. No heals coming in main. Reanimate, I think, came in. They actually caught Jeff backing up to spawn. That's no heals at all for Nemesis. Onslaught, they got to find Richie. I'm not sure if they know where he is. Looks like Ghost
they're
does.
gonna call him out.
Hunting him down, but he has the Enlightenment. This is a guaranteed pick. Can they trade it? That's the most important thing. Yes, they can. Lots of damage coming onto Ralkion, though. They need to spam Ralkion. If this dead zone gets value, this could be over for Nemesis.
Yeah, you got to look for these respawn. Seismic Crash. They're throwing everything at the wall. Ralkion gets another kill as well. Only 3 up for Nemesis, maybe 2. No healing. Finally, Richie's back in this fight, but Ralkion has not been looked at this entire time. Whoosh pulls one back. The healer, Genos, still alive. So low as the Makoa, but they don't have any point presence left once Ionishi goes down. And now we're going to a 3-3. Either we got a game 5 or Onslaught wins the set.
Fey Flight charges so fast. He's already at 89% after using it to initiate that fight. I think they don't have Ancient Rage, I believe, or Reanimate. That's big for Nemesis. Those are 2 big point-stalling ultimates. Other than that, they have Enlightenment, Whirlwind, Exile. If they get any of those aren't really game-changing the same way that Ancient Rage and the Reanimate are.
Right.
The sustain is just not going to be there. And ultimates that give you sustain like that are what you need in the face of a dead zone. Your healing cannot make up for that at all.
Well, the ultimate utility kind of in a similar spot. Only one readily available ultimate for both teams. Whirlwind, as you pointed out, for Nemesis. Only the Barrage for Onslaught in the hands of OS Ghost on the Victor. Flanking around the opposite side here, Swarmshy and Ghost as well. I'm not sure they're privy to this. If they're able actually to get in behind the Grover here, electing for that sort of 4-5 stack in back there. Finally, Swarmsy gets back in around the backside. 50% on the overpower. Could grab somebody. Great area in there behind the fidget spinners. Forcing Nemesis, honestly, to focus on 2 different areas. And Ralkion's able to take advantage of that to the tune of 1 kill.
Yeah, the Fey Flight came in really early there, got some really good damage. Dead Zone 2 denied a bit of value, but Ralkion gets a little bit too aggressive, wants the kill too bad. Ionishi finds it, but I'm not sure if it's going to be worth. Flame actually walled off from the point. I don't know if he can reach in time. He does manage to make it, but the setback got completely CC immune. He has to use the stasis
Got
field.
behind you.
Yeah, Terminus flank onto the Victor. He manages to get away. That's the saddest feeling, I'm going to admit. But still, fight going both ways. Trade 5v5. Who can find the first kill here?
Yeah, Nemesis back in onto it. Overtime in favor of Onslaught. No room for error if you're Nemesis. The second chance on the Atlas is going to keep him alive. Sir James Parker with 500 health, which is absolutely nothing if you're on a Makoa. Finally getting rehealed. You have the Ancient Rage as well. He's going to have to pop it. Starting to get melted through just a little bit. Going to time out. The Seismic Crash does not come down, does not get it out in time. Sir James Parker finds the kill first. Ralkion kind of a last man standing here in this case for Onslaught at 30%. Nemesis may retake, but the kills now maybe could come through from Onslaught if they're able to keep themselves alive.
Oh my god, Ralkion barely survived there. He dropped. He didn't need to. They had so much time
kept
left in the
himself
objective,
alive.
but he still got the Fey Flight. He's still putting on damage. This Terminus can't be sustained at all. No Reanimate on the board. Fast overtime. That's it. Onslaught, take it.
Wow, that one went long enough. That evaporated. The overtime bar evaporated. That was going on for so long, and that's all they needed. Just kill off one frontliner. You don't have to win the entire team fight at that point. Onslaught with a 3-1 victory over Nemesis. A little bit of revenge. It all came down to the last day in split number 1 that allowed Nemesis to go to the MSI, but the first win in this split goes the way of Onslaught.
Yeah, Onslaught's definitely, that's their way of saying, should you have gone to LAN?
Yeah, I don't know.
Would
At
we-
3-1, I don't know.
Would you have done better against Penta? I mean, maybe not. I don't know. Penta were pretty good looking, but still, though, Onslaught definitely putting their foot down to start this league, this split of the league.
Finally, we broke 200K. We got so close twice.
We were so close.
196, I believe, on Stone Keep, and then 193. I believe all three. One was a Vivian, 2 were Victors.
Yeah.
A nice round 200K damage for OS Ghost. 106. That's maybe 1 auto attack, 1 burst fire that got him up and over that. But that helps propel them to the win. 169,000 damage for Ralkion. Lots of big plays in that one, and finally Triple Tank finds its demise.
I was gonna say the win rate goes down. I guess all you need to do is just do over 200,000 damage, guys. It's been that easy.
Yeah, just do that.
It's been that easy this whole time. No, but seriously, I think Willow on that map is just that good.
Yeah.
I think just the dead zone being able to confirm those kills, but you can't ignore the Victor doing all that damage. You know, the Willow can deny that healing, but somebody has to get the kills.
Somebody has to do damage on the denial of healing. This was a beautiful barrage. I mean, there's something just so satisfying. You get it in MOBAs a lot, kind of ultimates that all combine into one another. Brilliant example of it there for Onslaught. OS Ghost with 3 kills in this fight, maybe more on the back end. But you're right, 200,000 damage, 2.4 KDA. Propels Onslaught up and over. Was close. 4-3 win for them on Splitstone Quarry. But ever so important. I mean, you look at that draft, you're thinking Nemesis far and away are going to win this one. Finally crack that Triple Tank nut, and they find the win, 3-1 on the day.
Yeah, I mean, it shows that Triple Tank is a great comp, but it's not unbeatable.
Right.
And it really is map dependent. I mean, they won on Jag and Bright, right?
Yep.
Those are pretty much the fattest Triple Tank maps you could possibly
you
imagine.
would
So
hope.
the fact that it flipped was great.
Yep.
I think they played it well, and they knew how to play that map.
Grabbing the win in their first game of the split here is Onslaught, taking down the old region rivals in the form of Nemesis. 3-1 for Onslaught in our third set of the day. We still got one more, but first, quick break.
The Paladins Console League is brought to you by Evil Mojo Games, developers of Paladins.